All right. Welcome back. A few things that I want to go over just right off the bat. The name of this podcast. I've been talking about a name change for so long and have gotten so desperate that I've tried like 5 different name generators online, pulled up ChatGPT, started typing in prompts to try to get name changes, and just nothing that has come up anywhere has sounded remotely good. I feel like the name The Minted Minutes, which is the name of the newsletter, would be perfect for this. But I don't think that we only talk about minted stuff here, so maybe it's not the right name. But yeah, I don't know. I've tried so many things, and all of the results that get spit back out at me are just so generic. Something I feel like you hear a million times. I feel like we could pull some creative play on words into it. So for the time being, I'll leave it as is, but I think it has to change. I also was going through the little hosting website that deals with uploading our podcast and distributing it to the platforms in which people listen. And I don't know if changing the name is going to mess anything up. So I'll have to look into that. It should be fine, but I feel like most people don't change a podcast name like 20 plus episodes deep. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I've seen some creative comments on like YouTube and even on TikTok, I think, of like suggestions, and I just don't remember which videos they were commented on. So
We'll have to go back.
yeah, we'll either have to go back, or if you guys, who watch this have any suggestions, just drop a comment somewhere, and I'm sure we'll see it.
Yeah. I haven't even been introducing the podcast with its proper name, like when we're starting.
It's just a classic. So,
yeah, I just like jump right into it because, I mean, at this point, it's like the name is just a formality. But I think we'll try to this will probably be the last episode of 2022. It's the 19th today. If we ever do get home for Christmas, I don't think we're going to record while we're at home. So like going into 2023, I think a good cadence would be every 2 weeks or maybe even every 3 weeks, because I mean, Shawn and I don't really have a whole lot of variation in our day to day. So we could go through a 2-week block of time, and outside of maybe some small things here and there in the business, not a whole lot changes for us. It's pretty much we train, we do work on the business, and then we go to sleep. There's not like, we're not the kind of people to have like crazy New York City stories or any of that sort of stuff. It's like very much regimented and routine, and to a lot of people that's probably boring, but I think to both of us it works really well for, I guess, what we're trying to accomplish. Second thing that I wanted to talk about immediately was our fiasco of getting home for Christmas. So Shawn and I guess, really haven't had a vacation day all year. We haven't, outside of my parents coming up to the city for the New York City Marathon, we haven't really seen our parents much, which is it's odd for us because when we were both working in corporate America, you have your set vacation days, and you look forward to those very much. They're on the calendar. They're like hard days in which you'll be off, so you can schedule around them. But for us, since we do all of our fulfillment and have our warehouse pretty much every single day, there are orders that need to be fulfilled, and there's no real easy solution right now outside of us fulfilling those orders. So it makes blocking any sort of series of days off where we're off of work, kind of quote unquote on vacation, even if it's just in Virginia visiting our parents, hard, because who's going to fulfill the orders? Or it's either who fulfills the orders, or we got to close the website so that orders don't come in and people aren't delayed. there is no option of leaving the website open and having the orders accumulate, because that's just bad for it feels bad for the customer. So Shawn and I had kind of been under the impression that we were going to go home around the 20th to 21st, through Christmas till like the 28th, and back through, I guess, the new year-ish. And as it always seems to happen, something comes up where it makes it almost impossible. So like a week ago, we're gearing up, trying to get a car to go home to Virginia, and I get a text message really, really early in the morning from one of my manufacturers overseas that says the stuff that we have on a shipping vessel right now comes into the Newark, New Jersey port on the 18th of December, should clear customs and be delivered by the 24th of December. So Shawn and I immediately were like, okay, well, I guess that like scratches that whole entire idea, because if you've ever dealt with bringing stuff into the country, once it gets here, it has to clear customs, and then after and barring any delay through customs, it has to get shipped to the warehouse afterwards. Now, the warehouse isn't very far from where it brought into port, but you have, or at least I have never had any visibility into when it arrives in clearing customs. Ultimately, you either get like a notice that it's delayed for some reason, they might need paperwork, or there's a customs payment, or something happens, or it just ends up showing up at the warehouse and I get a call from the delivery driver that says, we're at your loading dock, like with this stuff. So it's not even like I could go to Virginia and then come back the day it's going to be delivered, because if they call me and they're in the loading dock and I'm 5 hours away in Virginia, I can't say, can you just leave it in the loading dock, or can you wait in the loading dock? It becomes a huge headache. So it's easier to just be here. So now Shawn and I are kind of in limbo on when we're going to go home.
Yeah, because this happened one other time. I forget the exact date, but essentially, like it wasn't like a holiday. We were planning on taking some time to go down to North Carolina with my parents, and we had all of our flights. We booked our flights, and I think we talked about this.
This summer, I think it was, right?
Yeah, and then next thing you know, what was it? You got like a text, or you got
some notification. I don't remember what it was.
Where we were about to we were 3 hours away from our flight, and they were like, oh, by the way, you have X amount of pallets being dropped off at the warehouse within the next day. So you cancel the flights, and then next thing you know, they go, oh, they're not going to show up. They are going to show up after the weekend.
We were planning to go down there because it was a long weekend. Yeah. So they said that we were going to go down like a Thursday, and then we got a text that the shipment was going to arrive on a Friday. Shipment didn't arrive on the Friday. We waited around all Friday. Didn't obviously deliver through the long weekend. Ended up coming, I guess, Tuesday or Wednesday of that next week, but kind of just like threw a whole loop in those plans. So it's kind of interesting, this side of it all, because it's not like we're complaining. It just is something that I don't feel like a lot of like entrepreneurs on social media talk about. For some reason, I feel like anytime I see entrepreneur stuff, it's like completely hands-off business that just prints money, and people are traveling and doing all this stuff with all their free time. And this is more, I think, the reality in a lot of cases, because you're trying, like, could we hire it out and spend money on a full-time employee to be in the warehouse and run those day-to-day operations? Yeah, but when you're scaling, I think being as lean as physically possible in the business is setting yourself up for success in the best way possible, and trying to avoid bloat like anywhere within business structure. I mean, we still don't even have an office. We work out of the apartment still, which is just one more cost that we're able to save. But I guess there's gonna be an inflection point where this just doesn't make sense anymore, and someone should be doing it full time. I just don't know when that point is, or maybe 2023. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard to predict like what is the next step, and where is time, resources, and money going to be best spent to take the business one step higher, or that next next jump forward. And it's something like I'm always kind of like battling in my head, tossing back and forth of, is it something like operations wise, warehouse wise? Like, I don't know. It's hard to understand.
Yeah, I don't think, obviously you said like we're not complaining. The timing of each of these things happening is just like insane. Like before any time we start actually solidifying plans, like something always comes up and we have to cancel them. And, we were like, okay, what are the odds that something comes up before Christmas and like before trying to get home? Like we haven't heard any updates. And then next thing you know, like it happens. And I remember, Marcus told me about it and I was just like, God, like I'm never going to, because we didn't make it home for Thanksgiving, which was the first time we didn't spend like a holiday with our parents at least, or our family just in general. So that was weird. But it wasn't as big of a deal because, it is what it is. But then if it was like, we missed Thanksgiving and then like potentially, we're dealing with this for Christmas. It just kind of like, it is what it is. But at the same time, you're just a little bit like,
something you're not
what are
used
the
to.
odds? And, you just really want to go home and like relax with your family. And as I'm sure many of you listeners can relate to. So it's tough.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, I was really looking forward to just being at home, being away from the craziness of like day-to-day operations for a little bit, and letting my brain kind of decompress and maybe even work on more like creative stuff, or stuff that doesn't have hard deadlines, or isn't just like, not admin, but just operational stuff that has to be taken care of. I was looking forward to like a little 5-6 days to kind of decompress, but can't turn it off now. So we just have to push through, try to get this stuff sorted in the warehouse, get that figured out, and then we'll like just drive home whenever it comes in. I'm just hoping before the 24th. It wouldn't be that fun to drive home. It's like a late afternoon, December 24th.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's how it's gonna end up happening. I know it.
I think my worst fear is that we hang around to the 24th, and then they're like, it's not gonna make it. We don't deliver on Christmas, so it's gonna be delivered on the 26th. Then we're just totally screwed.
Yeah, if any of you work for UPS, let me know if they do freight deliveries on the 24th. Because I don't think UPS will be working the 25th, which puts us even in more of a pickle. It's like,
that's like the worst case scenario.
I'm not going to drive home late the 24th, be there the 25th, and then have to come back the 26th. I mean, I guess I could, but that probably just adds more stress to the overall situation.
Yeah, like, is it worth it at that point to like be there for a day and then have to do like 8 hours total driving?
It's kind of the same situation that happened with Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
it
we
was
just
like,
kind of
we're
cut
stuck
our
now.
losses.
Yeah. I think that before we do go home, the site is going to get locked, like I said, so that shipments won't be going out, orders won't be coming in, so there'll be a net, and then we'll just reopen when we get back. But I think going into 2023, we'll get on a more, not scheduled, but I don't even know the right word for it. We'll get on a more consistent release schedule. I think some of the biggest milestones we'll have in 2023 is like putting together an actual collection of menswear pieces that is like a comprehensive collection with lookbook, and release it in store, pop-up type deal. Would love to get the fashion show finally under our belt. I thought that was going to happen this year, which is one of those things where everything, timing just didn't work. I felt like we were just working on getting the stuff out that we had in production. And then it felt like these last 6 months, from pretty much June till now, we've been releasing nonstop almost. Or like every month to month and a half, we're gearing up for another release, which actually I think helped us grow as a business because we've got the format down now. Like our releases are a lot less stressful. We know exactly what we need to do, what needs to be prepped, what needs to be ordered, and we're not really scrambling as much as we were in the beginning. Like behind the scenes of the first however many releases, in the first year and a half of the business, it was just nonstop scrambling and stress, but it's so much better now.
Yeah, I think generally it just feels more consistent because we're not like in the beginning we would like drop one product or like a couple products and they would sell out, but like now it's like we have a consistent product offering that is actually nice because people can go on our website and like still see that some stuff's in stock, but that also requires that like every day you have to pretty much be in the warehouse and like at least ship whatever products came in, and it's just been like there's no downtime, whereas before it was like you drop and then you're kind of like, okay, like we can chill for a little bit, like because the site's locked, so there's nothing we have to do at the warehouse, there's nothing to ship. But then like the evolution is the pre-workout comes, and then that becomes something that's sold like every single day, and then more products come, and next thing you know, there's tabs on the website, like jackets, tops, like whatever, shorts. Yeah. So it's become like a very much every day you have to be in there, see what you have to ship out. And
I also stated a while ago that like the athletic stuff I want there to always be stock of, because Shawn and I have been athletes our entire life, and we know that like if you start to use something, like you start to wear a certain brand, or like that you like working out or doing athletic stuff in this certain brand, if you need more of that stuff, you need it to kind of be there. Especially if you're in a pinch, like growing up, you would need something for like something would get worn out, or you'd have to throw it out or get ruined, and you need another one, and it should just be there all the time, kind of like a core line of athletic wear, which I think we in 2023 we continue to expand on, continue to like solidify product offering there as far as just like really solid core athletic wear stuff that people can buy and work out and run and lift in, and then obviously sprinkle in other items within that and see kind of what works and what doesn't. But yeah, I mean, the pre-workout became the reason we had to go to the warehouse every single day initially, and then obviously Minted New York is starting to finally meet the demand of certain products and keeping product in stock and reordering on the proper cycle and all of that, which I had said it was always the goal, but in the beginning it was a lot harder than, well, it's still hard, but it was a lot harder than it is now, especially when we didn't have a warehouse and we were doing it out of my apartment or out of our parents' garage. That was a whole different headache. On the pre-workout front, the mango passion fruit will be done in, I think, 8 weeks. It should be finished and then shipping to us. So we'll have a new flavor on the same ingredient profile as the pink lemonade. It will have the same bottle as the pink lemonade as well. I know some people like the tall bottle of the peach, and some people like the shorter, like wider bottle of the pink lemonade. It was kind of split for feedback-wise. Personally, I like the shorter, wider bottle because there's no scooper, like fitting the scooper back into the pre-workout issue. So that's what we went with for the mango passion fruit. If it becomes too much of an issue, we might just have to switch bottling suppliers and altogether, and maybe find something once and for all that just fits everybody's needs the best. For the taller peach tea bottle, I really don't know why people would like it more than the shorter, wider one. I guess it takes up less space.
It takes up less space.
Scoop doesn't fit in until you use a lot of it.
If you shorten the handle, then at the end of the bottle, like you can't, unless you have really small hands, like you can't really get your hand in that there. So you need the longer handle on the scoop. But I personally agree that the wider bottle, and I think generally the pre-workout market usually has a wider bottle, or a wider bottle, I guess. So I'm not sure. I don't know many people who prefer the skinnier one, but
I can always look into new bottle suppliers and see like what is the latest and greatest as far as usability and storage goes. Maybe I just don't know. I mean, there's always innovation in that space. I'm not up to date on it unless I'm actively researching something new to use for ourselves. It's the same for the packaging Fermented New York. Like I've reached out to a few different packaging firms and have kind of narrowed our sights on a few that will provide us with better boxes, and I think overall just try to elevate the unboxing experience a little bit more. I love unboxing. I love packaging in general. I think it's such a unique end customer touch point, and I think it's very easy to overlook it. So I'm always trying to think of ways that we can make that experience a little bit better. I've been obsessed for a greater part of this year with Steve Jobs' vision on packaging and his idea of what good packaging is. But originally I toyed with, we'll just do branded boxes that we ship in. A lot of our stuff comes in 9x12x3 or 13-13-2, 13-13-3 boxes. And then who were we talking to, Shawn, where they said that outwardly branded stuff can be stolen, targeted for stealing? Was it the one USPS driver? Do you remember?
I remember having the conversation, but I thought
it was something about the Nike boxes.
Oh yeah, it's when a hype shoe drops, and if there's any Nike logo on the box, it'll just get stolen.
Yeah, it has a higher chance of being stolen. So that kind of put me off to the idea of let's just, go fully branded shipping boxes, to now the idea of we'll put a box, a higher quality box with the product inside just a plain shipping box, which might add more steps, but I think that kind of will allow for the best of both worlds. I don't know. This is all just stuff. Nothing has been finalized. It's all just stuff that I've been thinking about as we go into year 3 on the business. I think you just kind of got to continue to try to elevate. Another thing that I've been toying with on the pre-workout and supplements side of it is maybe trying to get into retail. I don't even know what that entails, but I don't mind the retail option for pre-workout. It's super ultra competitive, right? But I know is GNC and Vitamin Shoppe, honestly.
I don't know if you've talked about this on the podcast, but I still think that the single serve canned pre-workouts
drinks,
are just.
We looked into that.
Yeah, I still think that's just a good idea.
The one sample we got was not good. It was poop.
Because the amount of times I buy them and just people I know buy them, and the space and the branding, especially since you like doing so much with the branding and the design of the bottle or the can and all of that. I mean, half the battle for me is if it's a cool can design, I'm gonna at least pick it up and look at it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting way to see what you can do, and even if you start in one store or get in one store, see if the product's selling at all.
I love walking into the bodegas and looking at all of the different canned drinks or just the refrigerator drinks in general, because it seems each bodega kind of offers a different selection. And Shawn and I'll always do this thing with Shawn where I'll ask him what his favorite packaging is, because Like I think that's probably how you're going to sell someone who knows nothing about your product, right? There will be people that walk into the store that are looking specifically for your stuff, but I mean, we're not huge, right? So that would be a smaller percentage than people that just pick up a good packaged can and be interested in either the ingredient profile or, you know, trying maybe a new energy pre-workout drink type thing. But super competitive, super hard market. Like that is maybe one of the most saturated markets on top of just sports nutritional supplements in general. You know, consumer packaged goods is extremely hard. Shipping, you know, cans in that way, probably pretty expensive considering weight. They're not going to arrive chilled. I don't know. There's a whole lot of things that we can think about from a logistical standpoint. We could also do like 4, 6, 12 packs ourselves shipping out of the warehouse. We just have to figure out would it make sense, like from a unit economics standpoint, like how many would we need to move for it to be worth it.
Yeah, and also just the like who knows what if there's any sort of regulations about like storing drinks, and also how many drinks are we gonna have, and
I think we'd be okay on the drink front just because other people move drinks out of our warehouse.
True.
So that would be okay, but yeah, I mean, we don't have the space in the current warehouse. I mean, maybe if we did one pallet of cans, but I don't know. On top of it, we tried to sample with one company, and oh man, it wasn't terrible. Shawn and I agree that it wasn't awful.
I don't even
It was
remember
such a weird. Remember how like weirdly specific the taste was, where we both looked at each other and we were like, I don't hate it and I'll drink it, but I don't think general population would be into it. Yeah. It was like the peach, but it tasted like you just squeezed a peach right into a can.
Yeah.
It was like kind of super strong.
That was a while ago.
And it didn't taste like the pre-workout peach tea. So yeah, Shawn and I had them in the fridge for a little bit, and we both ended up drinking them. And right in the beginning, we were like, these aren't good. But then we kept going back to them, taking more and more sips, and it started to grow on us after a while. And then we finished them, and we were like, it wasn't bad, but I don't know if anyone's going to get past the first, sip.
Like, if somebody's giving a chance on your product,
and that's the first sip they get,
first sip
they're probably
isn't
never
just
buying again.
Just blows you away, then they're just probably not going to come back to it. If they have to be like, it was pretty good, at the end, I don't know.
I remember the first time I took a sip of Red Bull, I was like, holy shit, this stuff is so good.
Yeah.
It's like liquid candy. So you almost need to have that sort of visceral reaction of like, oh, wow, it was also a brand new flavor to me. Like, I don't even know what Red Bull's flavoring is on like the light blue, sugar-free Red Bull. But it was insane, and I was like, wow, this is really good. And that flavor is what I associate with Red Bull now. So I think if you're going to mainly be acquiring customers that know nothing about your brand, it needs to kind of leave them with a little bit of shock value, not shock value, but something to think about going in the future. The protein is in flavor sampling. We had shelved the protein for a little bit. It's a cookie butter flavor. It's in sampling for flavor testing. First production run of that, if it ends up that we get the flavor correct, will be not huge. So I just want to ultimately have people test it out, see if they like it, and then we can expand the product.
Did you figure out what the base size?
What do you mean? Like serving size?
Yeah, no, what will it be? What you ship? Is it gonna be like a 3 pound?
I think we'll do 2-pound tubs.
2 pound tub?
And then potentially I was gonna ask the manufacturer if we could do 5 serving sealed bags for testing. I think from people trying a new product, do they want to commit to 2 tubs if we can offer them maybe 5 servings?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was
off
like,
the beginning.
you do 2 pounds, or like, say you can do, I don't know, like 100 2-pound tubs, but then you could do 200 1-pound tubs. Like, would you rather almost just getting it at least out into more people's hands to see, like, is this good? And then, you know, if they want to be, if they're like, oh, we want more of that protein, and you go into production, then you can go 2 pounds later. It's like, do you do that, or do you offer that like sample bag or whatever? It's because it's like just obviously a totally different market.
New. Yeah,
like
yeah.
with the pre-workout, we kind of started with smaller batches, and then, you know, it worked out. So then we ordered a lot.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, we're still kind of a ways away because we have to. There's this process called denaturing when you heat proteins. And I want the flavoring to be consistent across shakes, like when you make it in a protein shake with water or almond milk or milk. And also if you use it in like hot oats, because Shawn and I eat a lot of hot oats and also have shakes. And we've noticed with some proteins, the flavoring gets
just like terrible in oatmeal.
It becomes weird when it gets heated. And after doing research, it's a denaturing process of the protein. But there's a way to kind of avoid that. But the raw ingredient protein costs more. And there's this one protein supplier out of, I think, Texas. I can't remember the exact name, but they are known for how high quality their protein powders are. But they only sell by the truckload, and truckload is like full tractor trailer full. But they have like different versions. They have like a baking protein, you know, whole different bunch of whole different range of proteins, as well as different concentrations of proteins. So reached out to them, and they agreed to, you know, help us with our sampling process to see if, I think that their protein for the denaturing issue will work, because I mentioned the denaturing issue in the email to them, and they said that there should be fine. So we'll see. I mean, Shawn and I will obviously test all the flavoring, and then we'll send some to Tim, see what he thinks.
I don't know if Tim has protein oats.
He has protein waffles.
True. It's even.
He also he likes protein products, protein bars. He's got that
I have
protein
no
butter
doubt he
cookie
knows
dough
about
thing.
protein.
Yeah, so I more just like, even if he's not a huge protein connoisseur, he's a good kind of barometer on flavoring.
Yeah,
you know, because he knows like flavoring.
He also like just knows that protein flavor.
Yeah,
it's like you can't like
and if it
expect
tastes
it to taste
shitty,
like a
he'll
candy
tell
bar.
us too.
Yeah,
yeah, it's not. A lot of the times I'm worried we bring it to people and they won't be honest. They'll just be like, oh, it's good. But no, he'll actually let us know. He always gives really good feedback on the apparel too. He always has a lot of really good ideas on potential things to change, or like I wrote in the Minted Minutes last week about the hang tags that come on the products. And he was the original person we were talking about that with, getting potentially rid of them because they didn't really serve a whole purpose. So that's why I added it to the Minted Minutes, because we're fresh off that conversation with Tim. But he's starting a podcast, so go find that and listen to it. His first episode should be coming out soon.
Yeah, he told us.
I just saw a video of him recording the first one
on his TikTok.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I don't know
if that popped up on mine.
Anyway, I'm out of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of like we wanted to come in and tie any loose ends of,
probably
end
end
stuff
of the
we
year
didn't
stuff.
Touch on in previous podcasts, as well as kind of just give a glimpse of what's going on and what we're working on towards 2023. But main priority right now is
get this stuff into the warehouse and try to get home for the holidays.
It's kind of the number one priority.
Yeah.
And so if the site ends up locking, then we made it home.
I'll put a notification out about the locking of the site if and when it does happen. I'll somehow update people. But yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible year. I'm forever thankful for everybody who either like listens or tunes in or supports either of the businesses. You know, it's been a wild journey for us both now, but going into year 3, just want to continue to get a little bit better than last year and continue to grow incrementally. And yeah, have a happy holiday season, and have a happy new year if we don't end up getting another episode out. But we will see you in 2023 early on. And I think that's it.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.